On my birthday, I received an anonymous letter revealing that my husband and sister had betrayed me. When confronted, he remained unmoved. I demanded a divorce, but he refused, threatening to jeopardize family interests. Only then did I realize I was merely a tool for them to amass wealth. Standing on the podium before thousands of watchful eyes, I forced a smile that felt more like a mask than a true expression. My hands curled into fists at my sides as I scanned the endless sea of faces in the crowd. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and every movement of mine was being recorded. My chest tightened until my gaze finally found him. Jake Ashwood. My husband. The moment my eyes landed on him, the tension in my shoulders eased, and the breath I didn't realize I was holding slipped free. Jake caught my eyes across the room and gave me a small nod, subtle, almost unnoticeable to anyone else. It was his silent way of saying, "You're doing fine, I'm right here." "Thank you, Ms. Nicole. That will be all," the reporter said, cutting into my thoughts. I blinked, dragging my gaze away from Jake, and forced another polite smile toward the reporter. "Thank you for your time," I replied, though all I wanted was to escape the blinding lights and endless stares. Stepping down from the podium, my eyes instinctively searched the crowd again. My pulse quickened when I didn't see him. The seat where he had been was empty. I turned to Natasha, my secretary and best friend. "Where is my husband?" I asked quietly, my voice almost drowned out by the chatter in the hall. Natasha leaned closer. "He left. Said he had something urgent to take care of." I tried to fight a smile but failed. Today is my birthday, and for him to have disappeared like that, I am sure he is planning a surprise dinner somewhere. "I'm sure he's up to something," I murmured, unable to hide the faint excitement in my voice. Straightening my posture, I looked at Natasha again. "Tell the driver to turn the car around. I'm ready to go home." The car slowed as the driver pulled up the long driveway of the estate. I stepped out, the crisp night air brushing against my skin. The security guard standing near the entrance straightened at once, bowing his head respectfully. "Good evening, ma'am. Is my husband home?" I asked, my steps slowing. The guard shook his head. "No, ma'am." I glanced at my wristwatch and frowned. 11 minutes past 11. My heart sank a little. The day was nearly over. When Jake disappeared from the event earlier, I was certain he had rushed home to prepare the finishing touches of a surprise dinner for me. It was exactly the kind of thing he would do, slip away quietly, only to make the night unforgettable later. "You received a parcel, ma'am," Steve, the butler, announced the moment I stepped through the door. I stopped in my tracks, surprise flashing across my face. "A parcel? For me?" Slowly, my lips curved into a smile. Of course. Jake must have sent it. He hadn't forgotten after all. I took the neatly wrapped package from Steve's hands. "Thank you, Steve," I said, barely able to contain my grin. Clutching the parcel tightly, I hurried up the staircase, my heels clicking against the polished floor. By the time I reached our bedroom, I was almost breathless with excitement. Tossing my purse carelessly onto the sofa, I sat on the edge of the bed and tore eagerly at the envelope. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for what was inside. The moment my eyes fell on the contents, my breath caught in my throat. My fingers trembled as I pulled out a stack of glossy photographs. Not tickets. Not a letter. Not anything close to what I had imagined. My fingers trembled as I pulled the photographs from the envelope. The first one made my stomach twist violently. Jake was naked, his body pressed hard against Freya's. In one photo, his hands gripped her thighs, spreading her wide for him as if she belonged to him. In another, his mouth was buried against her neck while she arched into him, her expression one of pure pleasure. I flipped to the next picture, and bile rose in my throat. Jake was behind her now, holding her bent over, his face twisted with ecstasy as he thrust into her. There was no shame in his eyes, no hesitation. He looked like a man completely lost in the act, completely lost in her. The final photo broke me. It showed Freya straddling him, her lips parted, his hands gripping her waist as though he couldn't get enough. His smile was wide, almost the same smile he sometimes gave me, except this time, it was for her. My vision blurred. My heart didn't just ache, it split open, bleeding. And then the door opened. Jake stepped in, holding a bouquet so large it almost hit his face. Red roses, romantic, extravagant, ridiculous in their irony. He smiled at me as though nothing had happened, as though the filth I had just seen wasn't real. The devil, carrying flowers. "Happy birthday, my love," Jake's deep voice chorused warmly as he walked toward me, roses in hand, expecting a smile, maybe even a kiss. I was going to suggest his words faltered mid-sentence the moment his gaze fell on the photographs in my hand. His steps slowed, his face paling. What is this?" he stammered. I rose to my feet, my hands trembling but refusing to let go of the evidence. My fingers dug into the glossy edges of the photographs until they bent under the pressure. My vision blurred, not from disbelief but from the tears I had tried so hard to hold back. "You tell me," I said, my voice cracking. The tears broke free then, hot trails spilling down my cheeks. I shoved one of the pictures against his chest, forcing him to look at it, the image of him, naked, buried inside Freya, her head thrown back in pleasure. "You tell me why the man who promised me forever is spreading my sister's legs apart and fucking her like she's the love of his life."